So at band 7, you have to be able to use a variety of complex structures. And the main thing would be the producing frequent error-free sentences. Okay, this is where a lot of people are going to fall down in the number of errors. Okay, you can make a few mistakes, a few.
What do you mean a few?
Three or four in a task 2.
Okay.
So that they're more like slips than mistakes. Okay. But yeah, sort of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 errors.
It's
not so good. Too much.
Okay.
Yeah. So what this kind of means is that you can use a wide range of sentence structures and you have a high level of accuracy. The wider the range and the higher the accuracy, the higher your band score in grammar is going to go up. And having just a few sentences with words such as because and if and although are not going to be enough, okay? So you need an awareness of some complex structures, and you need to be using a few. You need to be using the compound, the basic, and different types of complex sentences. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And then this, the need to have the frequent error-free sentences. So, thinking about this sentence, I was going to try and make it a bit, so if I do this and there are tough challenges associated with it, and so here we go. Here's what someone would think is a very complex sentence because there's lots of different things going on. The problem with this is that it's too long and there's too much going on. So this is not a complex sentence, it's a very confusing sentence. And by the time you get to the end of it, you can't really remember what you were thinking about. So there's 4 points in this sentence. What are the 4 different things that are being talked about?
Global warming.
So the most common issue is global warming. Okay. Then we've got it causes.
The cause is
Many serious.
Yeah. Then we've got
tough challenges.
Challenges and the effect.
The effect.
Yeah. So I break them into the 4 points. Okay. And then here, I tried to group them together by here. This is what I wanted to do. I took out the and then what I've done is I've given myself 2 very clear but complex sentences. Okay. So it's kind of like being able to find that balance between basic, too confusing, and complex. Okay, so that's hopefully what we're going to look at today. So what I wanted to show you, linking back to the organization of the paragraph. So when we talked about having a topic sentence, this is the time that you can use your simpler sentences. Okay, so we've got increasing taxes would raise prices and lower consumption. That's a good topic sentence, okay, because it makes the summary and very clearly tells me what's happening in the paragraph. So it makes sense to have your first sentence as a basic, okay, because it's a topic sentence. So it needs to be full of facts and what's going to happen. I mean, I've made this a compound sentence by joining raise prices and lower consumption. It's very clear, quite a simple sentence, but it's fine, it works, because I understand that this is a topic sentence, and I understand that I can use a much simpler sentence to introduce my topic. Okay, so then I've got the main point. So what I'm doing is I'm using words to link simple sentences together. Okay, so I've got fast food companies would pass on these taxes to consumers in the form of higher prices.
And
so that's good, a good strong sentence. How many verbs do I have in this?
one.
Which is
Would pass.
yeah. So it's a very well written, but it's still actually a simple sentence because it's got one verb and the subject and verb, and then we've got the object. But it's you know, I'm explaining it, so I've got in the form of higher prices. So this is giving it some complexity, but it's still grammatically a simple sentence. So by adding the and this would lead to people not being able to afford junk food, I've made it a much more complex sentence. And it's complex because I've got this, which is referring back to what I'm talking about. I've got good vocabulary, the correct grammar in correctly used. So fast food companies would pass on, and this would lead to people not being able to afford. Okay, so I've got a range of grammar going on, and I've joined two, although basic in grammatical form, very well written sentences with and that makes it a much more complex sentence. This compound joining makes it a complex sentence. I think students think that they can't use and anymore because it's too simple. But as a native speaker, I would use and all the time. I love my and. Don't take the and away. Okay, so being thinking about the cohesive devices, trying to make your writing sound more academic can often make you lose the coherence. Okay, what you want to do is have well-written sentences with a good range of grammar that are joined together when appropriate. Okay, so I've got here for instance, and the cost of organic food has proven prohibitively expensive for most people. So by adding the for instance, I'm making it more complex. So remember, complex doesn't mean difficult. Complex means that you've got a good range of grammar or a good linking device that are making your sentence less than just subject verb. Okay, subject verb object, which is the basic sentence. And then we've also got the last sentence, which is showing a limitation. So despite this, and then we've got people in many developed countries, relative clause, where the problem is most acute, can afford price hikes and will continue to eat high-fat meals. So the relative clause and my and. So instead of what a lower level would do is they would say people in many developed countries, people in developed countries can afford price hikes, full stop. They will continue to eat high-fat meals, full stop. Okay, but despite this, the relative clause and the and all make this a complex sentence. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that all the things that you know, all this isn't complicated, it's complex, as in there's good things happening. So these should be, you all know how to use despite this, you should know how to use relative clauses, and you can all join sentences with and. It's just making sure that you do it. Okay, so this is an example here. We've got the good topic sentence, and then makes sense that this is more basic, more simple. And then we're using devices like and, for instance, and despite this, and the relative clauses and the referencing to make these sentences more complex.